So our next guest is Dwight Treadwell Sr., and he is going to be talking with us tonight about a health topic. He has a book called, what's his book called? I think it's called The Sugar. Let's make sure I have it. Okay. Overcoming and thriving from the devastating effects of the sugar. And it's about diabetes. And he's going to talk to us about his journey as a diabetic and some things that he learned along the way. And as soon as he comes on screen, we will talk with him about his book. So he was on for a little while in terms of being in the waiting area. I don't know if he left and hasn't come back, but we let's see. I'll tell you a little bit about him. Oh, there he is. Okay. He has a 20-year journey in his war or battle against the dreaded disease of diabetes. So his book is about that. And we welcome him to Black Authors Matter TV. And if you could unmute your mic so we can
Am
see you.
I
Yeah, we can hear you now.
all right? I'm seen and heard now.
Okay, okay. Well, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, do you have a copy of your book with you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, if you could show it to us, then
Well,
we can.
let me see.
You can just put it in front. If you put it in front of the camera, we'll be able to see it. Hold
Okay,
it up. Hold it up because it's too low.
hold it up.
Okay, and you have actual sugar on the front of your book.
That I do.
Okay. All right. Now,
Sugar is sugar is that silent thing that leads us to a lot of unpleasant things. Sweet going in, sour coming out.
well, it's a very common disease in the African American community,
Yes, it is.
and a lot of it is related to obesity for many people, but not always. But it is a. My grandmother had it.
Yes.
She used to take the insulin shots. I remember as a little girl, my uncle used to give her the shots. And when we would go
Right.
visit her in the country, she lived in a rural area.
Well, that's where it all starts. We all come from the rural.
Yeah, yeah.
My
You were,
grandparents had a farm in the rural. We had
okay,
sugar cane on it.
what part of the country?
At Birmingham.
Oh, okay, Birmingham. Mine were in North Carolina.
Yeah.
The tobacco was the crop in
Okay.
North Carolina. They picked tobacco. So it was, chew tobacco for chewing, for cigarettes, for snuff. Tobacco was it. So,
The kids, we choose sugar cane.
oh, okay. Now, I didn't know that they grow sugar cane in Birmingham. They grew it in
Yes,
Birmingham.
ma'am.
I see. I always associated that with Louisiana
Uh,
or
Yeah,
even Hawaii,
yeah.
but I didn't know they did sugar cane. I thought they did cotton. They did
They
they
did
grow
cotton,
tea?
sugar cane, anything that would grow.
Oh,
When you're a small farmer, you whatever you put in the ground come up that would sell. That's what you put in the ground.
well, that's true. That is true.
You just cut your stalk, wash it off if you have any water, and start chewing.
Okay. Well, I hadn't heard about it north of Louisiana. That's why I always, in my mind, associated with Louisiana.
Right.
But now you had a 20-year journey with diabetes.
Yeah, when I was 45 years of age, I started feeling funny. But before that time, I was a college football player. I went to the Cowboys for a hot cup of coffee. I was a college All American. I was a high school All American. And we just dealt, a lot of our rehydration was sugar laced and Gatorade and sodas. So it's silent until it becomes a problem. In the earlier days when we were younger, no one knew how to catch, as we said down south. the sugar. You know, a lot of times they would whisper it that granddad or big mama has the, and we as children, we didn't know what that meant. So, but usually, if you're not a childhood diabetic from birth or from early age, at the onset of diabetes, you know, they say pre-diabetes is around between 40 and 45. So
Okay.
mine started at 45,
Okay.
and
And
we
you
start, you know, with pills, and the doctor gives you, you know, a script of if you do this and if you do that, and if you stay strict to a diet, you can come off of these pills. Well, we found that to be untrue. As I write in the earlier chapters of this book, once you get it in your hands, a lot of people have gotten it. The book came out 1st of November, and so far we've sold 1,000 copies or so. It just now went to Amazon and a lot of other platforms, so we're looking for big things. But you can work out, you can eat right. Sometimes you're just predisposed to certain ailments. It could be cancer, it could be diabetes, it could be any malady that you can come up with. It could be just hereditary. Mine was hereditary, of like you said, your grandparents had it, my grandparents had it. But diabetes is real slick. It doesn't affect every generation. You say, well, my
mm-hmm.
sister didn't have it. My brother didn't have it. Nobody in my family but my uncle, he had it. You know, you hear all of these stories when you're conversating with people about diabetes. And I say it doesn't get everybody. Some people, they get gout or they get lupus or they get cancer or they get thyroid or they get something. But they don't all, even in the same household, no one in my household has diabetes besides me and my dad of a family of 7 people.
Okay. That's true.
Just a
And you
little
know,
background.
they're doing a lot of the genetic science now where they can kind of somewhat predict what you have based on your genes, your genetic pool. They're doing it seems like they did it more with cancer so far than they have with diabetes.
They,
Although,
yeah, I don't believe they truly understand diabetes to this day.
yeah, they it's still and it's affecting more children, seems like now.
Yeah, it is. You know, when do you have children?
Yes, I have one daughter.
Okay, so you have one children.
One birth
But
child. I have stepchildren, but
yeah. So when you grow up in today's society, everybody wants to fit in. So they join, you know, soccer, little league soccer, little league t-ball, little league basketball. And then after the game, they don't care whether they win or lose. You know what they're interested in after the game? A
eating.
sugary drink
Okay.
or a piece of candy or cake or something like that. So
Mm.
sugar, and then you know down south, as we call it, how do you get indoctrinated to sugar? Well, you know vegetables themselves are not a tasty food group. So in our lineage, they would add sugar to the green beans, sugar to just about everything that didn't taste good. Okra, sugar. They add a little sugar to uh, greens, anything to make the vegetable go down. You know, kids are an ornery bunch. They won't eat what you put in front of them unless you know it's sweet. So that's how we get sugar indoctrinated as from an early age of adding sugar, and just about everything there is has a little bit of sugar in it.
Yeah, that's true. And it's leading to more illnesses and health challenges today. I tell you, when I was growing up, we had cornflakes with no sweet, the
Okay.
regular cornflakes, or Cheerios with nothing sweet on it. Those were the two cereals we ate for breakfast. And so we didn't eat a lot. Now my mother did put sugar in vegetables, but you know what I did? I did something different. I put honey in vegetables. And
Okay.
so honey is a healthier substitute.
Yes,
So
it is.
so I don't put sugar in veg. I stopped doing that about 20 years ago because I cook. I'm a very good cook actually. But I put honey. You can use honey. I use honey in my coffee.
Yeah.
So I don't when I drink coffee, I
I
use
yeah, I use honey
honey.
in tea. I don't you
Honey
know.
works in coffee. This is what you have to do. If you
Yeah,
want to make the switch, put it in your coffee for 3 days
I'll
instead of
have to
sugar.
try it.
3 days, if you could drink a cup of coffee a day, and I drink 1 cup a day, but for 3 days, use honey and don't pour the whole thing in, but put a good amount. And
Right.
for 3 days straight. And after that, your taste buds will adjust.
I will try that first thing tomorrow.
Yeah, try that.
Yeah, when I was in high
I've
school,
been I've
I
been doing that for at least
I
5 years.
yeah,
Honey,
I did a lot of cooking when I was in high school, learning how to cook. In the rural I grew up in inner city Detroit. You had to, because the parents both worked at the factories, you had to know how to cook yourself,
okay,
other than just a hot dog.
okay, okay. I didn't learn to cook till I was an adult. Because
Yeah,
my mother didn't like anybody in the kitchen. I'm the same way. She didn't want us in the kitchen when she was cooking because she said we got in the way. So she didn't let us cook. And I learned, but I observed enough to when I went away to college, I could call her and ask her, okay, how do I cook this? And she would tell me, and I picked it up really easily. But we didn't cook because my mama didn't want us in the kitchen when she was cooking because she said, and I don't like people in there when I'm cooking. I guess I adopted the same thing. Now tell us about. I want to hear about. You said when you were in your 40s, you started to
yeah.
feel you
When
started to feel some type of way. So tell people some of the symptoms you were having.
so when you start going to the restroom to pee, quite frequently, and you a
Okay. We're having some
whole
internet
lot of
connectivity
liquids.
issues.
One drink a cup of coffee. Yeah, you could uh, drink a cup of coffee before going to work, and you'd have to stop at a restaurant or a gas station and just let it go. I mean, let it go. And you
Oh,
say, "I only drunk half a cup of coffee." Then,
okay.
when you get to work, the first thing you do when you get there, you have to urinate again, and you say, maybe I drunk some beer or something last night, or something I didn't do right." But days went by, and in a week, you try to lose weight or eat right. But in a week, when you lose 10 pounds and it's mostly fluid, and you say, well, something is not right,
So
and
you
then
have
you
frequent
start bleeding.
urination. You have
Mhm.
frequent urination,
Yeah.
and you lost weight.
And you lose weight,
Okay.
and your sugar cravings are way up. I mean, way up. So I would eat a lot of fruit or something to replace the fluids besides just drinking, sodas or water. But that didn't curb the sweet tooth. And then finally, you couldn't go 5 minutes. I couldn't go 5 minutes without urinating. So I said, it's time to go to the doctor. Well, the wife. Then she said it's
And see,
time to go to the
normally
doctor.
that's what happens. And there is science that says that studies show that married men live longer, and that's because their wives make them go to the doctor. And I believe that. I know that's to be the case because my husband, if I didn't insist he go or take him, he would just say, "Oh, I'm fine."
Yeah,
And
most
we
men, we
get there
always
and
say we're
find
fine.
out it's something they need. Uh, my husband ended up needing a pacemaker.
Ah,
His blood, his rate, his heart rate was in the 40s, and so and on the with the pacemaker, it's fine. But if I hadn't been insisting,
Men, we avoid
Oh,
the hospital like the plague.
yeah,
It's
and
an old barber. It's an old barbershop joke. When you sit around the barbershop and all the barbers know everything, right? They're experts in
I've
just
never
about
been to the
everything there is. They say
barbershop.
if you go to the hospital, the doctors are going to find something wrong with you. So men, we avoid going to the hospital. One guy may go to the hospital, they find something wrong with him, he bring it back to the barber shop, and then the barber say, "I told you so." So when I
But
got
see that,
diagnosed with diabetes, I went to the
okay,
barber shop, and they were right. They found something.
okay, but see that's putting the cart before the horse
I
because you
know.
go
I
to
know.
the
That's just an
hospital
anecdotal
because
joke.
you're having a problem.
Yeah.
So the problem wasn't caused by the hospital. You
No, it
went
was not.
because you had a problem. But I hear that's so I didn't know they said that in the barbershop because I never been in one. but
Uh-huh. You
I
go
do
to the
hear
barber
about
shop
them,
and
and
they and
y'all have y'all's own form of gossiping, like women do.
yes, we do. So no man wants to go to the hospital because the doctors at the barbershop, they know best.
Okay. Well, then after you went to the doctor, so when did you first get diagnosed? How many? It was 20 years ago, more or less.
I'm 70 now, so it was 45, 25 years ago.
Okay. And
And the doctor says, follow this routine. I did. I worked out like an Olympian. I was eating right, running, walking, working out, swimming, doing all of the exercises, eating nothing but chicken and fish. So I said, hey, doc, when I went to my 6 week appointment, he said, come back in 6 weeks. When I went back to my 6 week appointment, I said, hey, I've got this diabetes whip. So I was waiting on him to finish all of his tests, and he came back in the room, and I said, he gonna give me the good news. I'm not a diabetic anymore. That was not the case, sadly. I said, Doc, how I'm doing? He said, you're doing okay. I said, well, I'm gonna be off of these pills. He said, not so fast. He said, we really don't want to take you off of them. We want to leave you on them for another 6 to 8 months. I said, what? So I was floored then, but I knew diabetes couldn't be. Well, I wasn't really sure about diabetes, but I knew a illness as serious as diabetes couldn't be beat in just 6 weeks. But I was, hopeful. So as time went on, the pills became less and less effective. I guess the human body evolves, so the body got used to the effects of the pills, and then I was recommended for injections. Now the injections were, 18 units in the morning plus another shot. This was the fast acting insulin. They have a fast acting, then they have a all day. So you take 2 shots in the morning, but you take a fast acting shot 3 times a day. So, about 10, 12 years, all of that was going good. Then the body evolved one more time.
mm,
So, as it evolved, I needed more and more. They would change doses, or the pharmaceutical companies would change the strength. I don't know what happened, but I was requiring more and more. Then, about 60, I developed a blister, as I call it. Well, they call it an ulcer on the bottom of my foot. So we went in and they say, okay, yeah, it's a diabetic ulcer. And I said, okay. I said, I've been eating right, doing everything right, working out, swimming, being active. So they said, okay, we're going to do a little bit of surgery on it, stay off of it. So, they call it offloading. So you offload, and the stitches or the little incisions that they had made it healed up. So they started recommending the proper footwear, and that was all good. for about another 5 years till I got right around 65. I was always been active. I was a professional softball player. Uh, so we were still playing ball on the weekend and maybe a couple of days during the week. Uh, so the ankle started hurting. I said, why is my ankle hurting if what they did was on the bottom of the foot? Well, the ankle began to swell some. So I went back in, and the first incision or the little ulcer had grown larger. And I write in the book, you could be going along just as fine. Everything feels good as a diabetic, and you wake up one day and there's some leakage on the bed uh, from the foot. So I went in and they say, hey, the reason your ankle is swelling because there's an infection in your foot.
Mm.
I say, is it in the ankle? No, it's in the toe. In the toe? Well, why is my ankle swelling? So they went in, and the podiatrist first decided, well, let's just take a little snip from the top of the toe. And I said, from the top of the toe. So they did that and cut the top of the toe next to the big toe. And then they sewed it up and went another. And this is a series of 6 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, all of that. Everything is going fine, proper shoes, proper inserts, proper everything. And time goes on, and the ankle swells again. And go in a year later, and they said, well, uh, we need to go a little deeper on that toe because studies show that you still have some infection left. I thought you got that the first time. Well, anyway, when you start cutting on the human body, there really is no end until you get all of it. Even with cancer, when you start cutting and snipping, you're just hoping that they get it all. Well, a lot of times they get 80% or 90%, but then it starts to regrow. That's just the evolution of the human body. So years go by of a snip here, snip there. So they had snipped 3 toes by that time and hoping that would get it. And, being in the hospital 5, 6 months, that was their next remedy for offloading. Well, if we can keep you off your foot and just let it heal in the hospital, I guess I had good insurance. Just let it heal here in the hospital. We can get you back up on your feet. So, yeah, it healed up because if you're not walking on the blood, it's not moving around, and the pressure on the bottom of your foot is in that what we call the arch or just above the arch. And the only thing left on that left foot was a big toe and a foot. So I said, a little awkward, but they would prescribe what they call a shoe filler. They put a piece of material in the front of the shoe that would hook on to the big toe and fit where all the other toes would be. So that was okay. I know the story's getting a little gory for some, but that is the life of diabetics.
Well,
But
I
any,
think it's instructive.
huh?
It's instructive for people who may not know how the disease progresses
Yeah,
because
it goes and
the
comes, and
progression.
but once you start cutting, uh, the body is used to all of its toes, all of its fingers, all of whatever you have. But for the diabetic foot, that is the main problem because you have to be upright and vertical. For months I was in a wheelchair, then progressed to a walker, then to a cane. Just trying to keep weight off of the left foot. Uh, then you go along and you go along and you wake up and there's leakage coming from the big toe. It's like, oh well. So you go back to the doctor after this. Now we're in the third or fourth year after they started cutting, and one doctor was said it's just better to snip the whole foot, to just take the whole foot off and start getting ready for a prosthetic. I said, I've been going through this now 7 years. Let's just do that. So a lot of people said, no, I don't want to lose my leg. I don't want to lose my toe. I don't want to lose my foot. Well, for me, I had lost them all. So it was just going to be easier uh, to just do a lower leg amputation from the knee down. And since I had that done, yeah, that is painful. But there are doctors and therapists who can work with you and teach you how to bear pain. Now, one thing about uh, healing, you have to have a pain tolerance. One good thing about me or guys like me was that when you played football, we had to wear knee braces, we had to have our ankles wrapped. So we were always used to a snug foot, so them just strapping on a prosthetic foot was like getting ready for a game. But it was a little painful. You had to learn how to walk with it. You had to learn how to bear the pain where the leg used to be. So that took a year and a half. And now, like I say in the book, I run, I play softball, I swim. There is a prosthetic that allows you to do that. You may see runners in the Olympics running with two prosthetics. I just have one, and they have a really flexible foot on it. So the prosthetic leg is stronger than the other leg. And I still work 5 days a week. My main profession is I'm a roofing salesperson, not a roofer, but a
Okay.
roofing sales manager.
Okay.
And I still play uh, old man softball. One good thing about me, I can just hit and go
Well,
sit
well,
down.
you don't run to the bases.
No,
Is
they have a lot of
that
people that do
what
that.
okay, I was joking. Okay. All right.
Yeah, when I first had the operation, I would hit, then somebody else would run from first to home. But after I had started getting used to that prosthetic, I could hit home runs and hit the ball hard. And they said it wasn't fair that all I had to do was hit. So they stopped letting somebody run for me. They said, you
Okay.
got to at least get to first base. So I
Okay.
had to slowly jog down to first base. Then somebody would take over. But in the earlier days, I just stand there at home plate, swing, and then there was a person on the other side of the plate, they would run the first. Then everybody said that was unfair. I said, I'm just still the same guy with one leg, though. But that's life as we know it. But
Mhm.
for anybody that has suffered an ailment, most doctors tell you you need to get up on your feet again. You need to move
Yes.
again. So that's
Yes.
why, I'm in the pool 2, 3 days a week. I work out at least 2 days a week. Whatever the body can stand. The body is built for movement. It's not
Yes.
built to
It
just sit in
is.
a wheelchair or lay on that couch.
It
And
is.
if you don't have the proper circulation, then the body will be like a car. It'll just clog up and back up and quit running.
Yep. And if you don't move those muscles and joints and bones, they stiffen up on you,
Yes,
especially
that they do.
as you get older. You have
Just
to keep
like water in
moving.
a tank that's not moving, or oil in a car. If it's not moving, it'll just stiffen up.
Yeah, and the human body is 75% water.
Yes, ma'am. A lot of
So
people don't realize that.
yeah. So you have to keep moving. Uh otherwise it's just like anything. If you don't use your muscles, they atrophy. They get stiff, and then that's when things kick in, arthritis and all kinds of things kick in.
Yeah, and a lot of people are afraid, or they don't. They're afraid of, well, one is pain, and the other one is the stigma of being a diabetic. Well, everybody whispers in the corners and in the shadows, you're going to get your foot cut off. Maybe, but that's not the end of life. This is going to happen to you. Maybe, but that's not the end of life. There are people walking around now with diabetes that refuse to get treatment because they don't want people to know that they're diabetic. And, is
Well,
that
that's
wise?
good.
No,
But
doesn't
no,
make any sense.
it's not wise at all because you know, diabetes can kill a person. Like you can go into a coma if your insulin levels are high or low or whatever.
Yeah, too low, under 30 and
Yeah.
above 400.
So, but I'm glad that you shared the symptoms that you were experiencing
Yeah,
because,
and your vision. I knew something was wrong. Like I said, I was a professional softball player, and I wasn't seeing the ball as clearly as I used to see it. I couldn't look up and then look down. Your vision would start to shake a little bit. My vision would start to shake a little bit. So I
okay.
said, something definitely wrong when I can't see the ball. And I've been doing this a long time.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, we had
that's
someone on the show a month or so ago, maybe not even that long ago, 3 weeks, that had diabetes too, and his vision was
right.
when he first realized he had it. He just thought he needed glasses, and then he went and found out he had diabetes.
Yep. Yeah. Your eyes will let you know.
Yeah, so that's something. Now we're a little bit over time, but our final guest hasn't logged on, and I am going to uh, text her just to make sure she didn't forget or whatever. And if she's unable to uh, come on, then we can continue our conversation if you
All
don't mind.
right.
Is it too
No, I
late?
got plenty of time. The
Okay. Is it okay? I just wanted to make sure. So I have a co-host, and would told me she was going to be on. So this is something she would normally do, and so I am a one-person show right
Yeah. So
now.
how do you get a hold of me? We shorten the we have a long title called Overcoming and Thriving from the Devastating Effects of the Sugar, but we shorten it down to the sugar. You can go on Amazon, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Book Baby, you can go to Thrift Books, Indigo Chapters, Majors and Quab, Booksellers, Instagram, and I'm listed on all of those. All you really have to do is type in the sugar, but you may have to just type in Dwight Treadwell, then the sugar, and I'll pull up on everything. One really really good thing that's happening. We're being picked up. I'm being picked up by TBN, which is Trinity Broadcasting Network, and they have a publishing group called Triology Publishing. Yeah, TBN is the Dan Crouch and all of those guys. So they'll be publishing the book now. Uh, how do you get started in publishing or writing a book? First thing you got to do is get started. You have to have an idea or a story to tell or just information to provide. But the very first thing you have to do is get started. Is it easy? No, writing a book is not easy. The other book I have is called The American Dream Door to Door Millionaires, where me and my son we co-wrote a book about how we started in the roofing business and how we got customers. Everybody is busy. Nobody has time to do anything. So if you have an ideal that will alleviate pain from someone having to do a necessary job, then that's your niche to get going. All you have to do is just think it through and no, you're not going to know everything about your subject on day one. but things will come to you. But TBN, the sugar is filled with a lot of anecdotes about trusting in God, keeping the faith, holding on, don't give up, don't just sit there and say, I'm just going to live out my days. There are things because most people, even if they have diabetes or they have good talent, in today's society, a lot of people work from home. Well, I can't
Yeah,
get to work,
yeah,
so
it's
work from
very
home.
common. It's very common.
Yeah. So don't let people discourage you. Uh, Life is not a straight line. Life is filled with ups and downs, and it's filled with curves. Your goal to success or whatever the purpose, your purpose is in this life is not a straight line. And nobody who's ever been successful or will ever be successful unless they hit the lottery or they born with a silver spoon in their mouth, is going to be a straight line. So we're just here to encourage those who might suffer, not just from diabetes, from a car wreck or anything that could prohibit your progress from where you thought you were going to the path you're on now and the path you got to take to get back to where you're going. So we just like to encourage people. Don't be down and out. Yeah, you're sad, but who isn't sad? Okay.
Well, you you've given us some food for thought for sure. I did want to let the audience know that our final guest, Yona, the soulmates, has is having a health challenge. And so that's
Oh,
why she's not logging on. So we will reschedule her for a future date and wish her well. I'm going to communicate with her after the show and find out, make sure she's okay. But
yeah. I will be in Houston this year to the
okay,
National Black
book
uh,
festival. You mean
Book
next year?
Festival.
Next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just in Dallas last week. There was a diabetic foot conference. Uh,
Oh,
and I just left there. And just to let you know, diabetes is not just for black folk. It's
oh,
for white
absolutely
folk
not. No, it's
and
not.
it's
No,
for
absolutely not.
professional folk. There was doctors at the conference that had diabetes, and then their parents had diabetes, and the parents wouldn't listen to the child. It's like, well, I need to give this to my mom and dad. And you may have some people like that that won't listen to you, but they may listen to me or have something, excuse me, in written form that they can read that tells them that they can identify themselves with. But yeah,
Mhm.
diabetes is not a black illness.
No, no, definitely not. It. I think statistically, it's more common among Black people, like disproportionately, but
Yeah.
it's not definitely not exclusive to us. My daughter's boyfriend has diabetes, and he's 28 years old.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how long he's had it. I think she told me at one time, but I can't recall. But he does have to take insulin shots.
Yeah.
Um, so he has type 1. He's had it since childhood. I think it's type 1, she said.
Yeah, if it's childhood diabetes.
Okay. So it's it's common. I'm not sure if it runs in his family or not. I hadn't heard all the stories on that front.
And
So
women who give birth are at risk of having diabetes.
yes,
During
and
what,
I
the
remember
gestation?
that when I was pregnant with my daughter, they really monitor your insulin levels. I never had any challenges with it, but they monitor that and they monitor blood pressure. And
Yeah.
some people get diabetes during pregnancy,
Yes, they
but
do.
then it clears up after they give birth. They don't have it after they have their child. It's just during, having bringing humans into the world does a number on our bodies.
Yes, it
We go
does.
through all kinds of stuff. Your body is expanding and doing all because you have to be feeding your baby while it's growing. I mean, on the inside, and so your body changes. I know all women say the ones I've talked to, every single woman I've ever talked to that gave birth to at least one child. Their shoe size grew.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that,
Well, let
but
me tell you
it's
about
by half a
mine.
size, by half a size. So I was a size 7 before I had my daughter, and after that, I'm 7.5. This just I
Well,
don't know. I don't know why it happens. I don't know what happens to your feet. I don't know why
well,
that happens.
well, I wore size 13. As my swelling and all of that happened in my left leg, that foot went to a size, it swelled up to a size 15. But I was
Mhm.
still wearing a 13 on my right leg.
Okay.
But I had to buy a 15 and a 13 whenever I got
Oh, you had
shoes.
to buy 2 pairs of shoes.
Yeah. After the amputation, uh, my right leg went to a 15, and now I could use the shoes from the left leg with my new right leg 15s. It was just a
Wow.
strange thing. It never
Oh,
went down to back to a 13.
oh boy. Wow. Okay. Now you said something, and I don't know if I misheard it. Did you say you played for the Dallas Cowboys for a little while?
I was there for a cup of coffee, which means a 2 week tryout.
Oh, okay, 2 week trial. Cause
Yeah.
I was a lifelong Cowboy fan for a while.
Yeah, I was there when OJ,
Yeah,
well,
who was
I went to San Francisco. Then I tried
there?
out for the Cowboys. But I went to San Francisco when OJ, his last year.
Okay, that I wasn't watching football. I was a kid then.
See?
But
Okay.
because who was the quarterback? So Roger Staubach was the quarterback.
More than
The
likely
Cowboys
then,
more than
yeah.
likely
But
because
when us free agents, when you're a free agent and you go out for the Cowboys, they don't let you nowhere near the veterans. You
oh,
just out there with
okay,
100 or 200 uh, guys trying to make it, beating up
oh,
on each other.
okay.
Then they bring the veterans in after all the blood and guts was spilled. They ain't gonna let you hurt uh, the
They
main
want to
guys.
keep those franchise players
No.
healthy because that's the way they make their money. But my brothers they adopted the Cowboys when the league was new, when the team was new. When
Hmm.
we were kids, and so we lived in Virginia, but they went for the Dallas team, and
Yeah.
that's the only team I knew anything about because my brothers had, Roger Staubach's posters
Yeah.
and Tony Dorsett
Yep.
when he played. Okay, they had the posters on their wall, and so I didn't know about any other team. So that was the team I adopted, and I was a lifelong Cowboy fan until I quit them when they re-signed Tony Romo. I was through
Yeah.
because I knew they weren't going back anywhere with him, and so I got tired of losing and watching the playoffs without the team being in the playoffs, and so
Yeah, they got rid of Emmett. Emmett retired, and
yeah, that was the team. Well,
yeah,
before okay, in the later time, not the first team with Starbuck, and because I wasn't watching
yeah,
football then, but the team with Aikman and Emmitt
yeah.
Smith,
Troy
that team, that was this awesome team.
and we'd have never lost that game last night with that team.
Yeah, that's true. And what's the guy's name with the raspy voice that still commentates? Golly, I can't think of his name.
Uh, the
Uh,
wide receiver.
yeah, yeah, wide receiver. Uh,
Uh,
Alvin, is what's his name? Alvin?
I can't call it
Irvin,
right.
Michael Irvin, Michael Irvin.
Michael Irvin.
Yeah,
Irvin.
yeah, that was the team right there. That was the team, and they haven't, um, they haven't had a team since. And so then I adopted Seattle's team, and that was when I adopted them. It was before they went to the Super Bowl the first time. They were like
Mm,
an up and coming team when Russell had first got there.
right.
That they had a really awesome team then. Then they went down, but I'm still sticking with them for now. And when I watch the
Seattle.
Cowboys, yeah, when I because now they're at the top of their division. They're,
Yeah.
I don't know if that means anything, but
We still holding out hope for the Cowboys.
yeah,
Maybe next year.
they're not gonna do anything with Dak. Now, I
Nah,
don't know if they were going to do anything with that, but
maybe they'll
without
get.
that, definitely not going to
Maybe
do
we'll get Dion's son, Shador, and Travis Hunter.
it. Okay, well, maybe so. Hope springs eternal. And
Yeah,
I can appreciate
but
people who stick with the team through thick and thin, no matter what.
I
I,
stuck with
and
my
I
hometown
normally,
team.
yeah, some people are hometown team. I'm not because
My
we
hometown
at home.
team is the
We didn't have a
Detroit
team.
Lions. Yeah, the Detroit is
They're doing good
is
this year.
coming along again. And a
Mhm.
shout out to all my buddies they from Detroit, Detroit Western High School Cowboys, International Cowboys. They giving me the thumbs up. Shout out to them and my Knoxville College alumni and from Knoxville, Tennessee. All of my family in Birmingham and Detroit. Uh, I have people some everywhere, but we have enjoyed it. As long as you'll have me, we'll keep going.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Well, the show we have about 11 minutes left on the show, so we can keep
I
going.
got 20
Okay,
minutes
11
left.
minutes.
I got 20
Okay,
minutes left in me.
in you. Okay, okay. But just Detroit is doing well, and they were in. Now, Detroit fans, they were long suffering because they were not doing anything for a
Yeah, the
long
night
time.
train lane and
They It was a
back in those
long
days.
time. They had the all through the 2090. When did they have a team?
It was
They never
back
won.
when I was a youngster in the 70s,
Okay, so yeah, I know they hadn't had one
60s, 60s and 70s.
Okay, yeah, they haven't had one since I was watching, and I've been watching since the 80s, the mid 80s. I started watching football, and I really learned the sport, and I became an avid fan
So
by learning.
my mother is asking me on another line, is this program recorded because she couldn't get on it? You
Okay,
know,
all right. Here's the thing: this show is live. It's also live streamed on Facebook. So
uh-huh.
once the show is over, you can go on a Facebook page and watch the whole show. You can fast forward to just this interview or watch the
Okay.
whole show. So it all of our shows are archived on the video section of our Facebook page. But you will also get a copy of your interview by itself about
Okay.
about a week after the show. We send it to you. So
All
then
right.
you
So
post it on your page.
she'll be happy. She been at 93, she been trying to figure out how to work the Facebook Live.
Well, all you have to do is go to our page and it's there. If she goes to Facebook and types in National Black Book Festival, and she can do this after,
Yeah.
okay, after the show, she can go to Facebook in the search for National Black Book Festival. It'll take you to our page where this is live streamed, and then she can scroll down a little bit and she'll see it. It'll be a video there that's on our Facebook page because it stays there. Um, and we don't delete any of our shows.
Right.
All of our show we've had the show for 4.5 years, and every single show is on our Facebook page under video archived under videos. So we keep them all, and we've had 700 over 700 guests on this show in 4.5 years. You're probably 712 or something like that. We just recently celebrated our 700th guest. Not interview, not 700th interview, because we've had some people on the show more than once. Our
Okay.
700th guest. So we've talked to a lot of people, and they're not all authors, but mostly authors.
Yeah. Well, once my wife gets home and she calls my mother, and my wife will lead her to how to get to it. My
Yeah,
mom
it's
is
not.
just
It's not.
scrambling right now. I can't get it. I can't get it. Well, at
Yeah,
93, we didn't
it's
expect you to get it.
that's true. But some people younger than that don't. Some people aren't on social media, so they don't really know how it works. And some people are on all kinds of other platforms. TikTok is popular now.
Hmm.
Of course, YouTube. Our show is not live on YouTube, but all of our shows are uploaded to YouTube after the fact. So we have
Okay.
YouTube. I'm not on TikTok as far as doing anything. It's just too much to me. It's just too much. It's too much.
Right.
But it's popular for especially among younger people. It's popular.
Yeah,
So
younger people like.
if you had some advice to give people about um, if they think they may have diabetes or they have a family member that has it like supporting them,
Yeah.
what advice? How can people who have a
Make
loved
sure
one
you
with
see
diabetes?
your doctor. You have a general practitioner, and you have an endocrinologist. Uh, the endocrinologist is the person that checks all of your body functions. Endocrinologist is more knowledgeable than just a general practitioner.
Hmm.
Endocrinologist handles lupus. Endocrinologist handles diabetes. Endocrinologist handles everything about your pancreas. So,
Hmm.
and that's where diabetes stems from, the pancreas.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people die of pancreatic cancer. It could have been diabetes, or it could have went to cancer. So, that's who I would tell you first to search out and to have regular visits with is the endocrinologist, and then he'll set you up on the all of the different drugs and whatever that you need to take to keep yourself healthy. But exercise, 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 exercise. Some people have never been great at exercising. You don't have to be great at it, but you just have to be consistent. Do a little something every day, not hours and hours and hours and hours. Even today, my 93-year-old mother, she walks on a treadmill just to stay active, just to make sure nothing clogs up. Yeah,
Hmm.
women live longer than men. I wonder why. But, men, they just get to watching that TV and they just said, I'll get it tomorrow. And a lot of people believe that being busy is the same thing as exercise, which I tried to tell my dad is not. Busy is not the same as exercise. You
Well,
know,
you need to be
busy
active.
painting, busy working on the car, busy cutting the grass, busy. Dad, that's not the same as exercise.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. And dad is no longer with us.
Yeah. Well, my brother had pancreatic cancer, and
Mm-hmm.
um, he got misdiagnosed as with diabetes.
Mm.
That's what happens a lot of times with pancreatic cancer. It gets misdiagnosed first,
Right.
and then by the time they know what it actually is, it's a stage 4. So, but he had similar symptoms to what you described. He, was having frequent urination, but he also lost weight. He lost 20 pounds,
Yeah.
unexpectedly. And that's what prompted him to go to the doctor. But then they said he had diabetes. And so then he started having pain. A few months after that, he started having pain in his abdomen. And then they found a tumor. And, pancreatic cancer is very aggressive.
Yes. Anything in the pancreas.
Yeah, it's very
But
aggressive.
hopefully, America and the world will wean themselves off of just straight sugar. Uh,
There are a
and
lot of substitutes that are healthy. Not some are not Splenda. No, that's not healthy. But you have agave, you have honey, you have some healthy substitutes,
yes,
that you can that are not going to give you diabetes or aggravate diabetes if you already have it. So
yeah. And diabetes, as I read in the book, is not something you can catch. Is something that is within the family bloodline most of the time. Diabetes is not coming for a weekend stay. When it comes, it's bringing two, three, four suitcases. It's going to be there a while. So you got to learn how to work with it.
yeah, yeah, it's hard to get rid of once you're diagnosed with it.
Yeah.
Some
You
people
know,
have overcome it, but it's
it's
not
very hard.
easy. It's very difficult to overcome. And normally, like so most of the people that I know that did, like with diet,
Yeah.
uh, well, no, that's blood pressure that I was talking about
And it's
earlier.
blood pressure.
But
Same kind of
they
diet.
they went vegan and not vegetarian, vegan. The people I know that overcame hypertension with diet, they went vegan. And that's difficult. You have to be really disciplined and not really like tasty food. I shouldn't say it. I,
Well,
well,
you have
you
to
have
like
to
the taste
really
of
like you
shoe
have to
leather.
mentally change. You have to really set your mind to it. That's
Yeah.
the only way I could see doing it. But
And
um,
the mind is the strongest muscle in the body.
it
So you have
is.
to work on the mind.
It is. So show us a copy of your book cover again
The sugar
and tell people how they can get the book. You said it's available on
on Amazon.
Amazon. Okay. And it's
Amazon is at Walmart. Let me read.
okay.
Yeah, Walmart, Book Baby, Google Books, Thrift Books, Indigo Chapters, uh, Instagram, and they'll all lead you to the sugar.
Okay. Well, Dwight, it's been very informative, and thank you for extending your interview because our final guest has a health challenge. So we're going to be in prayer for her to be recovering from her challenge. And also prayers to you and your family as you continue to do well under with your challenge with diabetes.
All right, I thank you very much, and I look forward to being in Houston in what is it, August?
It's October. All right.
October,
It's
yeah.
October 23rd to the 25th.
All right, look for me in Houston, Texas. I got some buddies in Houston. I meant to come last year. Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah.
And something happened.
Okay. Yeah.
But
All
I
right.
am
Well, listen,
signed
you're
up,
not
and
coming.
you see me. I'm sporting my black
Cap.
offering
Yeah. Your cap and your
gear.
shirt.
Yeah.
Your cap and your shirt.
Yes, ma'am. All
Okay. Well,
righty.
you have a great evening.
You too.
Okay.
Bye
Bye
now.
bye.